We're doing it. Patch notes show Smite 2 in game. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
We'll just do the party lights real quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, classic.
DJ Pun, let's go.
Obviously, there's a lot of exciting things here to look at, but we want to highlight first and foremost is the tooltip descriptions that are to describe where these strength and intelligence values are going to come through. So even just looking at Shifter of Seasons, you can see the healing scaling on the spring season is intelligence scaling. So you can actually get bigger heals per hit by building intelligence on Kernanos. But you can see, and actually you get a lot of utility effects from Kernanos here. You can see the intelligence scaling on the, you can actually increase the physical protection reduction debuff potency by building intelligence on Kernanos. You can get that traditional strength damage on Summer, but actually Summer has a unique thing here where you can see it's actually strength or intelligence, whichever's higher.
Right.
That's cool.
So you'll have to really take a look at these things. It's really this system gives every god so much more depth, so much more opportunity to play different roles, different styles, different builds. Essentially, almost anyone can be built as an ADC or potentially melee.
I've heard the rumors of Zeus ADC. What
Oh,
you
I was gonna say Strength Zeus, baby. That's I'm right there.
Right, some gods have really interactive kits with this. Some a little less so. Some have completely different role changes potentially because of this. There's just so many exciting opportunities within this system.
I was distracted by looking at those awesome looking tooltips. It looked like
Yeah,
a lot
lots
of
of
work.
details. We have
We'll
simplified,
talk-
advanced.
I skipped ahead of it, but look at them.
We're gonna
They're
talk
gorgeous.
about this more, but in most cases, we just want to talk about this and like set the stage for a lot of the stuff we're going to look at today.
Yeah.
In that these new systems like keep the moment-to-moment combat, what we want from Smite 1, what people are used to, a lot of core MOBA features, which we're going to get into right now. So we're going to go through the Conquest section of the game.
Yeah, I was going to say,
first,
speaking
and
of
then some systems changes on top of that.
I was going to say, speaking of setting the stage, we're already here on this gorgeous Conquest map. Let's just stay in game while we pass to you, AJ. Kind of like, what are some of the design goals for Conquest as we kick off and Pong can start walking around?
So similar to our general goals, where you're gonna see this repeated a lot, where some of these specific features also mirror the goals of the entire game. But we want to continue to look for depth in the Conquest map. We want to add more impactful choices, more options and opportunity. Important to note that this is like the first playable version of Conquest. So
Yes.
there will be definite plans to adjust and expand on the mechanics in the map. There's going to be some new ones already, and also a lot of different ones from Smite 1. So early on, this is a like really spicy goal, honestly. But early on, we're really trying to keep the entire role system as creatively open and flexible as possible. So a lot of players in Smite 1 are very used to the design team being very prescriptive with, you should build this god as full tank and go here and do exactly this in this order, or you will not do as well. That is not the goal here. We wanted to design more of a canvas for the players to paint the meta on for us, right?
Terminology.
So we
a
tried to
cosmic gumbo. If
right. There you go. I would say so.
And reference 10 minutes in. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we need at least 5 more by the end of the show, Ragro.
I got you.
So there are no specific starter items that tell you have to go here, you have to kill this, you have to do that. We want people to lean into the strength and lead into the god changes and role changes and see what things go. We found that maybe more aggressive strength-based supports are really strong in our playtesting. Sort of double jungle strats are potentially really strong in our playtesting. Doing more ranged utility supports instead of true tanks can be really good. Double ADC can be good.
Yep, I think one of the fun part is like you were saying, we've opened things up for the players, and we're seeing from the friends and family testing, from play tests, they're already doing things that we didn't expect. Like we didn't already, some of these, like whether it's Athena Crit Jungle, like I don't think we tried that as much internally. We saw friends and family doing this. Damn, it's
we were
working.
trying burst magical
Yeah.
Athena jungle, because like that's when you'd expect to be pretty good. But we saw the physical Athena jungle.
like,
it was really good.
It's like the system's working. Like this
That's
is awesome.
what we want. And so, this is something that, of course, is open to change. We're going to see how things work. If the general feedback wants us to be more specific and more stringent on things, we can. But you have to start this way. It's much harder to go the other way.
Exactly.
If you're already saying, like, you have to buy this item, you have to start here, you have to do this, or the item doesn't even work, then you don't get to test the other things.
Yep.
Right.
So that concept I just illustrated is something we'll come back through a lot. So, Clumsy, why don't you tell us about this first cool new feature we have on the Conquest map?
Could you be talking about the new stealth fields that we see all across the different places in the map?
It is.
I was going to say just in the lanes, but they're not just in the lanes. They're in the jungle. They're in, we took a lot of opportunities to make sure that when adding this feature, we didn't overload the map with this new thing. And so what we're seeing here, we're seeing areas where if you enter into it, you become stealth, right? It's what you'd expect, which you've seen in other games, which you've seen in our own game that we've played around with in Smite 1. In different game modes and with Marti Cross and stuff. So it just, for us, it gives us more opportunities to kind of just play in with, lane dynamics, with jungle dynamics. It's something, where you can create opportunities and moments of, interest during the matches itself. But like I was saying, we played with a lot of different placements. We played with, a lot more of these, a little less of these. And right now we're just at an iteration where we feel like you're opting into this gameplay, but you're not really being stifled by it.
They're just fun.
Yeah.
They're just fun.
Right? These specifically are just like, you get all sorts of cool ambush moments.
Oh, yeah.
You get a lot more. You get a lot less just like strafing back and forth, staring at each other. Like you have to check things. You have to use abilities or face check things or use wards. Like it just adds a lot of fun to the map.
Yeah, I love the level 1 game of hide and seek in lane. It's
Whoever
just
gets
like
there first. Get there first.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't want to check.
Who's here? Should I ward here or not?
Usually, especially over here, because you see these ones and there's a mirrored side and there's left, stealth push on the left and the right. So you're just watching from like these right side ones, them attacking the left side ones. Like I'm not even over there. I'm over here.
There's a much more specific description of all the rules around these in the patch notes. But in general, they work what you're familiar with from this type of mechanic that we've done in Smite 1.
Yep.
Cool. Well, we continue our map tour, and the next point is talking about lane minions, but I know we have them turned off right now just due to the base stuff on the map. But Pon, do you want to just walk us through how kind of lane minions work?
Yep, so the lane minions work as you generally expect them to. They spawn at the start of the game. They'll run down the middle lane. They're your main source of experience and farm. But there are slight differences in how they're spaced and how their damage is dealt. A little bit difference in how tanky they are. Just stuff that you'll feel out as you play in the alpha test. The major change is actually going to be the Minotaur minion that spawns now. This thing is like a true siege breaker into pushing a lane. Yep. It's a lot stronger. It has probably, I would say, I don't know the exact health value, but it feels like quadruple, 5 times the health of a regular minion, and it can absolutely crush towers. It has a long range attack that actually hurts it. So if you get this in your lane and you can kill the other one, you want to push yours into the tower and help push. And that just adds a little bit more dynamic into, oh, they abandoned lane to go rotate here. At this time, I can start pushing. You have an extra tool to help you push. So minions are going to be familiar to you, but there are some new aspects of this that are going to be different when you're playing in the alpha.
We also have the minion execute feature.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Minions, standard minions, not the Minotaurs, get low health. They will get a flashing red element on them. That means that the next damage dealt to them will immediately kill them.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit more last hit focus and highlighting through that. Feels really good to just like track through a whole wave, just executing minion after minion, getting
it's one of those things like last hitting in Smite 1 has always been there. It's always, it is important to make sure that you're aware of the fact that last hitting does give you bonus gold. But now we've just given you like an added methodology of seeing what that looks like. Now you're going to know, and it's a part of the gameplay experience rather than being something that's a little bit hidden.
Very true.
Cool. All right, Pon, as you were walking around, I noticed these little yellow circles on the sides of the lanes. Aggro, what are these things?
Yeah, these are the gold caches, I believe we're going with, and these are really
Gold blessing.
gold blessings. Yeah, excuse me, gold blessings, and they are a blessing because this gives
subject to change.
Gold. Yeah, of course, to your whole team. So right now, Pon, if he had 5 teammates or 4 teammates, he would have given 30 gold to himself and all of his teammates, and these are present in all 3 lanes, and it really just adds another layer of, I really want to be contesting the lane and not just sitting underneath my tower and soaking farm as it gets underneath, and I'm not really in any danger. These gold leads get going pretty quickly with these gold blessings, and they're, we have some gold blessing demons, caps lock in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck ever getting, he will die for it.
All to the death.
And I respect that.
We have had team fights where everyone dies because of this 30 gold.
Oh, and my favorite one is if you go to in the mid lane, right? Like we were talking about the stealth areas. This is the most perfectly placed one because there's one right here, and you just know that someone's either hiding here or just waiting. I've seen people just like looking for the best opportunities to just gank at this gold.
Now, how exactly did you capture those there, Pon? Let's dig a little bit deeper into this concept, because this is a very new mechanic and it's going to have a big impact on the map as a whole. You're going to see us referencing it multiple times here in the future. It's called interact.
Yep.
So we now have the concept in Smite 2 where things on the map have a special area that allows you to interact with them. There we go. So you can see you can capture this Warhorn. This is we'll get to this mechanic in a second. We're jumping around a little bit, but the gold blessings were the first interactable we wanted to show. So In order to do this, you use your spacebar button, or whatever your jump button is currently bound to will transform into an interact. You'll do a little channel, and then you'll capture it. These were so we could try some different methods of, gaining an advantage on the map that weren't just killing something.
Or just standing on something.
Or just standing on something, right? So you walk in, you have to manually engage with it, and then you can cancel it, you can interrupt, but you can also be interrupted.
Right.
It creates a much faster combat loop than just having to kill a whole minion wave, or that also it has a different risk reward dynamic than having to stand and kill a whole jungle camp where the opponent can just stand there and watch you. You're taking damage, you're taking all the risk, and then they can try to just pick it off.
Right.
In this case, they have to actually poke you off and then take that ground, and then you have the chance to counterattack. It gives a really different combat dynamic, and you're going to see us exercising this in a bunch of places across the map. Before we get too many into those, we should jump back to towers, though.
Yeah. Let's talk about
Pon,
towers.
you want to go show us and talk about tower bounties?
Yeah, of course. So you can see here in mid lane, and let me turn off Tower Killer so I don't just absolutely destroy it. It has these extra 3 pips.
Yeah.
And so these are actually health thresholds that when you get to, they'll drop these gold bounties. So let's see if I can do this without dying. We'll God.
I was gonna say I don't like your odds.
Yeah, no.
Your build is not going to do much.
No, we have no items right now. So
All right, chat.
no
Get the
no
timer.
backdoor protection.
How long is it going to take?
We got it. We'll get there.
We'll only be demonstrating the first tower.
Yeah, so this will be the first tower bounty, and you can see when I get to this health threshold, what it does is you have these orbs fly out. You can pick them up, and you can even see we have these helpful tooltips that explain what it is. But when you pick them up, they just give you a huge burst of gold. So this is extra incentive for you to actually break through and push towers early into the game. Using that advantage, it's a different way of getting a lead when you have advantage to push outside of just rotating. Again, just giving you more flexibility in what you want to be choosing to focus on the map.
And there's a special condition with that third one.
Yeah, that one's
which
exciting.
is worth a lot more gold, and that one is only benefited to the team that gets to it first in the lane.
Yep.
So if you break your diamond bounty, then your opponent's tier 1 diamond bounty is turned off.
In that lane. Yep.
The winning
that
lane
lane.
matters.
Only in that lane.
Yeah, gotta win that lane.
And also, those gold pickups are localized for the area. So it's not team-wide gold, but if you have an ally nearby you, it'll share for whoever's nearby.
Huge win for W keyers everywhere.
Yeah, and it matters a lot. Like getting an early tower in Smite 2, you notice the gold infusion for you personally if you got those tower bounties, which is felt really good.
It's a big spike. Okay, where were we before? Jumping back to...
We're talking about interact. We talked about gold caches.
Jungle buffs.
I think it's time to talk about the jungle.
Oh,
yeah.
this is exciting.
Okay, you want me to take this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a big new system that affects the whole map in a deep way.
Yes,
absolutely.
So this is what we're calling the Infamy System. Every jungle camp on the map has a level. The level is gained by leveled up by gaining infamy. You gain infamy by killing that camp. You get it? You kill the monsters. They don't like you so much, so they power up their defenses to try to fight you harder the next time. As you level up the monsters, they'll be harder to kill. They'll be worth more, and they'll start giving better rewards. So at Infamy level 1, jungle buffs do not drop. So there are no level 1 jungle buffs in Smite 2 at this time. But as you level up to level 2, 3, 4, you start getting a jungle buff at level 2, and then you start getting more powerful versions of each buff as you go. Each infamy is tracked individually, so you have to kill a bunch of harpies to get more harpy infamy.
Yep.
And this is really interesting because this lets you prioritize specific things on the map, like if you want to invade. Invading your opponent's team red actually slows down their infamy gain on their red buff and speeds up yours.
Yep.
Right.
Getting you to get a stronger red buff earlier in the game. There's also a couple spawn points in the game, the ones along the middle line. Those can be different jungle buffs at different times and different, so they're randomized which color jungle buff they'll be. So depending on what spawns there, you might want to prioritize one that you care about the most of getting to the next level of infamy. So there's no Invader's Curse on this map as well. So there's really just a lot of ways you can play this, a lot of different strategies you can formulate, both pre-existing and on the fly, to power up your jungle as you go. Yeah. Anything I missed, team?
No, I mean, I think that a big thing, just thinking about the competitive aspects like I was talking about earlier, I think that this opens up jungle pathing and unique ways to play the jungle based on how your jungler likes to play, based on how your team likes to play.
People will find
comp likes to
specific
play.
routes.
Yep.
But there's been less of that so far, right?
Yes, definitely. I'm really trying to ward early so that I can see if Pon is starting on the left side. I'm doing way more vertical jungling than I ever did in Smite 1, just really trying to. And then if I get a good clean invade off on the enemy red, I'm going to prioritize red the rest of the game because now I'm ahead in Infamy there, and I might let my yellow kind of
pressure
go by the wayside. Yeah, but I really want to build that and get, because the level 3 versions of these buffs are really, really strong.
Oh, the last thing we forgot is jungle buffs now need to be picked up with interact.
Yes.
So this is a feature that, you know, takes a little bit of getting used to because you're just used to running over them, but it helps a lot for crowded combat scenarios where people don't accidentally pick up buffs. It lets you manually choose or overwrite the buff you currently have if you still have duration on your previous buff. We've also just made the jungle buff pickups generally a lot more forgiving. They last a lot longer, so you don't run out of time picking them up. You can do a lot of stuff with these new jungle buffs, so definitely check those out.
Yeah, one last clarification on these ones as well, because I've seen some people confused in playtest. The Infamy system is not necessarily linked to the strength and rewards based on that camp. So for example, the jungle camps are still going to gain XP, gold, and damage over time, and Infamy levels are just based on that reputation system and what rewards they'll give you via the buffs.
The buffs. Okay, sorry. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, the way I introduced that could have been interpreted either way.
Right.
The main benefits of leveling up Infamy is the buff and introduction of the buff and buff powers.
Yes.
And the Harpies also, they don't drop a buff, but they drop a shield pickup. It gives you a health shield with unlimited duration. Yeah.
Very strong.
Yep, and then all that info on all the buffs and the Harpy Trinket Shield is in patch notes. So if you want all the details on each level of the buff per Infamy system, it's right there on patch notes for you to read.
You'll get used to picking up those buffs real quick.
I have jumped over every single Smite 1 buff I've picked up for the last
Sure, I didn't even think about that. That's so funny.
Every single one.
Oh, man. Well, let's talk about the Warhorn up next. It's the solo lane objective. But Pon, do you want to give us a sneak peek? I was gonna say,
we
peek at something else.
Oh yeah, we'll just use the teleporters.
Yeah, here we go.
I don't need to cheat. I have cheats built into the map.
There we go.
If everyone can cheat, it's fair.
Yeah, so the Warhorns, these are kind of like the totem replacement. It's only going to be featured in the solo lane, and it's something that we were looking at earlier, where you're going to use that interact mechanism, and it's kind of like a capture the flag scenario where you want to get your progress on the Warhorn all the way to full before the enemy kind of takes over and does it to theirs instead. So only one team can capture the Warhorn at a time before each respawn to the Warhorn, and it'll be empowering the next wave of all the minions on your team. So they're going to be getting stronger, and it also does an immediate benefit of gold for your entire team too.
Yep.
And it is noticeable if your solo laner is giving up a lot of Warhorns and you're fighting a lot of Warhorn fused waves.
Oh yeah, it gets like,
tough. Hey,
oh yeah,
can we maybe get a Warhorn or two over here?
I know, right?
That might help.
They take a lot more time to clear, and you take a lot more chip damage away when trying to clear them. Or if you're not around with them, you could lose. Lose waves.
Yeah,
this is also another objective that it might actually sometimes not be worth the fact that we've been fighting over it for 3 minutes and have brought multiple people over just to contest this Warhorn. But man, you really want to be the one that captures it.
Oh,
It's a moral victory.
I've had some funny times of just me and someone else with solo laner just staring off at each other, and one person's trying to get it, and then the other person just uses a Bologna ulti to stun them, and in that time they don't even attack, they just go for the war and capture.
And getting that quick interact, stepping into the right space, hitting the key, getting it going, and stepping back out. A lot of times people will think, oh, I'll definitely be able to interrupt them, but then they get it because you weren't quick enough.
Yep.
There's a lot of combat dynamics
and
there.
Playing around the strategy of the Warhorn early to mid game is obviously important. You want to help with your team across the board. Also mid to late game where your minions being empowered in one lane versus the other. So for example, you get the Warhorn and then you push on one side of the map, right? And the other sides of the map are always going to be able to.
We get a lot of Fire Giant queues where instead of we're not quite ready for Fire Giant and the fight kind of spreads out and you fight over the Warhorn instead because it's really impactful late game. You want that minion push. You want that free push, especially while you're fighting over objectives. It scales so well throughout the game, and I always am happy to go pick it up.
Yep.
That's awesome. And one thing that I noticed that I wanted to call out is the way you capture it is you interact with it, but you don't have to stand on the point whenever it's going. So you can interact with it. Start the capture, walk away, clear wave, rotate.
But if your enemy comes in and interacts with it, and they will stop your progress and start back theirs.
Yeah, and it does remember progress too. So if you had it almost finished and someone comes and snipes it, and you take it back quickly, it's not like you've lost all that progress. So you're constantly making progress towards finishing it.
Purely additive.
Cool. Well, we're on the solo lane side of the map. Our next point is the teleporters, and we're going to talk about the Gold Fury here too. So let's talk about the teleporters that get on the right side of the map before we talk about Gold Fury.
Yeah, teleporters or Pond, did you want to take porters?
Yeah, so for the teleporters, as a jungler main, the fact that you don't know exactly where I'm starting and the fact that I can gank and teleport to go farm the other side of the map or surprise gank the other side of the map as well, just the amount of options and flexibility as a jungler alone has been super huge for these teleporters. But if you lose sight of your lane opponents, if they push and they leave, you don't know if they went necessarily to go potentially invade, you don't know if they went to Gold Fury, you don't know if they're about to go gank solo lane. And this positioning makes it so that it's accessible just enough that it is good to do and you can make some really hype plays off of it, but it's not so accessible that it's a constant feature where you really have no idea where anyone is. You can make really good educated guesses, and that's something that's really cool about this.
Obviously we've got teleporters of some mechanic now in Smite 1 and a lot of people who have talked about like, oh, why aren't they exactly the same as Smite 1, Smite 2? It's because these types of teleporters, the gameplay that we wanted is very different, right? We didn't want to we're not looking to copy and paste, even though there's like the Smite 1 serve a different function, it's their fun for their map. But for this map, we wanted to make sure you can make those sly and coy plays. You don't have to reveal people.
More mystery.
A little bit more mystery, a little bit more intrigue.
And you can see we also have a cooldown here, so you can't just teleport back and forth.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of a timer. It's not, you can eventually like come over here, fight, and then afterwards the timer will probably have fallen off and you can go back. But you can't just use this to constantly ping pong back and forth to confuse your opponent and make it really hard for you to get killed.
And for all of these interactables on the map so far, you get interrupted via damage. So it's not like CC, like teleport and Smite 1 or anything like that. If you get hit while you're doing your channel of the interact, you will immediately stop.
Right. Good point.
I cannot wait to take my duo lane and gank Nika at level 2 and like level 2. It's gonna be awesome for me, not for him.
Enjoy that upper hand you have on the pros. For
I know, right?
One very short amount of time. Yeah, exactly.
Sweet. Well, Pana's already walking over there. Let's talk about the Gold Fury.
Yeah. So Gold Fury is a bigger deal than it has ever been in Smite 1. Now you see underneath the kills on the top of your HUD there, you've got 3 empty dots. Those are your Gold Fury count. So if you get a Gold Fury, you'll get one of those, and each time you'll get golden experience as you're used to, but then also you'll get a unique buff that is permanent based on how many Gold Furies you've gotten, and you keep all of them as you go. So the first time you kill a Gold Fury, you and your whole team will permanently have a speed boost out of Fountain that is doubled for the rest of the game because you've gotten a Gold Fury. If you kill a second Gold Fury as a team, you also will have nearby friendly minions take reduced damage and deal more damage. And if you get that third one, then you deal bonus true damage to structures. And so this is a way of us kind of advancing the game throughout the match in a natural kind of scaling way where you don't have to necessarily fight around Fire Giant. Getting that third Gold Fury, now that structure bonus that kind of used to be on Fire Giant is now on getting your third gold. So you want to group up, play around that. We have really changed our late game macro calls a lot from Smite 1, really needing to, oh, hey, this is going to be their third gold. I don't know if we really want to give that up, or what's right after the third gold.
I was just staring at you. Just like
fourth Fury.
The fourth Fury, which I'll get to in a moment. But a lot of really cool calls of, oh, they only have 1 gold. It's okay if they get their second. Let's group around fire.
Right.
Or, hey, we got some early Gold Furies because we got an early lead. The enemy team's starting to scale. They might outscale us. They might out-team fight us. They want to go for Fire Giant, but we feel good because we got 2 Gold Furies already and can play to our third.
Yeah,
here it is. So the Ancient Fury. So once a team has killed 3 Gold Furies, once one team has that final buff, then the Ancient Fury spawns, and it is much spookier than your typical Gold Fury. They wanted something spooky, and we gave it to them. There's no doubt about that. When you kill the Ancient Fury, this will disable enemy towers for 100 and phoenixes for 180 seconds. So this is the strongest way to end the game.
This is a true alpha.
Yeah, extreme alpha moment.
You said the thing
right here.
This is also not exactly the same build version that's going to be in the test this weekend.
Sure.
So
I also think
you might see some minor differences.
I also think we updated it to 120 seconds based on feedback as well. So that tooltip might be incorrect.
Yeah, so you might see very subtle differences what you'll be playing this weekend. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yes. But this Ancient Fury is now the premier game ender if you want to try and get together and siege as a team. But it doesn't give you combat strength like something like a Fire Giant buff does. So it really adds a whole nother level of macro decision making on the map, which is something that I think Smite players have been asking for a really long time. And it's been playing out really, really well, in my opinion. I think the stacking Gold Furies versus going for Fire Giant has been a really awesome decision.
Tough call.
And like you said as well, one team could end up getting the 3 Gold Fury kills, but then the other team who might be behind, they may decide to not fight over Fire Giant, but take the Ancient Fury instead. And that might be their first Gold Fury kill, but they get an extremely powerful objective over it.
Yeah, if you feel like you're stalling because Fire Giant, it's really hard to make ground potentially here, there's a whole other aspect of the game that you can go farm to make progress towards the end game, which just, again, adds different varieties for teams to play around.
All right, well, let's look at our Fire Giant then while
big
we're here,
boy.
huh?
Yep. Back to pit a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
We've got a new arena here. We've got there's a new feature hidden in the back of the arena there. There's an interactable.
Another interactive.
Yeah, another interactable that you can.
This one, I enjoy using this one a lot.
Yeah, this one opens actually allows you to temporarily change the Fire Giant.
Oh,
arena
that's
at a new
sick.
path, but it does a little bit of damage to you.
It does.
Opens.
It
It's a
costs
little
you
bit of a cost.
10% of your maximum health.
Yeah, we wanted to
utilize
experiment with
door.
that a little bit. But yeah, the Fire Giant himself, he may look familiar, but he's gotten a lot of polish like a lot of our other characters in the game.
He
And he's
looks
got
so
some
sick.
new abilities. So he has the Magma Slam.
You're going to get owned here.
Knock
Oh
away.
yeah, I'm absolutely gonna get destroyed. I need to walk out of here. Hold on, where God, real quick.
There we go.
You saw the Magma Slam there. That was that big warm-up circle in front of him that'll knock you away. And that will also spread out these 3 additional boulders, which will do more bonus damage. He also has the Ragnarok's Fury. Similar one that you know from Smite 1. This one's very necessary to make sure everyone who's fighting
That's
Fury
right
takes
here.
damage. So yeah, this will float over people who take damage, and it does more damage if it's just you. And then we have the Fire Blast, which is this really large warm-up cone area, and then it has a really long, persistent, like, burning area that
That's
you
a
don't
big
want
area,
to stand
too.
in. Yeah, so this causes the whole very raid mechanic-y, right? Right.
It gets
everybody
so hectic.
rotate. Yeah.
Yep.
It also, that field persists after the Fire Giant dies. So, like, the
It
most.
lasts its full duration, right?
Yeah. So there's been a lot of times where, like, you're doing a Fire Giant fight, you even take it, but then the cone is cutting off the players, like, who want its, like, escape path.
Right.
So now they're actually in a
your
really bad
aggro
spot.
direction matters a lot in this version of Smite, which is a really strong skill that high-level supports and who take the Gold Fury master. It matters even more now.
Yeah.
And also, there's some interesting spicy changes to the buff. First of all, you might notice it looks
Oh,
Those
different.
effects are so sick.
He's on fire.
So we wanted the he's on fire feel. We wanted this really cool visual for Fire Giant that just made you feel powerful, fit the thematic goals like we have almost in the old Smite 1 cinematic.
I love it so
Yeah.
much.
To
And
hell it
it
back.
stacks better than 2 belts and just a bunch of buff belts on people,
Yep.
Like, it's still very clear. You can tell when a team is on fire. You can tell when a player's on fire. And it also has some unique mechanics, too. So now, every time the Fire Giant dies, the strength, intelligence, protections you get from it get stronger.
Yes.
Yep.
So you get strength, intelligence, and healing and mana regeneration the first kill. But then every kill after that, it gets protections and increasing protections, and it increases the strength amount. It does not increase the healing, I believe, because that would just be probably too OP. But like I said, anything is open to change.
Hey, if it
feels
does,
good-
let us know.
AJ said that, like,
feedback.
we're sure about that. Like, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we're still making a lot of changes to the game as we go, right?
Oh, yeah.
Every day.
These types of things open to discussion, but
Oh, you can
those
do
are
the thing?
I believe the exciting pieces on the Fire Giant.
No,
I haven't
this is the
realized how
most
sick
exciting
this
thing
is.
about this.
Oh no, you're gonna show this part. Okay.
Uh,
I actually don't know what happens here.
What's the cooldown? You don't know?
No, I've never
What's the
seen it.
cooldown on it, Paul?
I actually don't know.
Oh, you might have to stand here for a while.
Yeah, I just stay for a while. But
talk about XP
I'm just saying,
rules,
if this door closes on you, it might not be good for you. So maybe just pay attention to when it's closing.
I believe
Oh.
it just kills you.
That is so awesome. I love
Oh,
that.
man.
It just executes you.
That's incredible.
So watch out for the doors closing on you.
I hope
Yeah.
someone pushes someone.
I've died
Right?
twice to that in playtests.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff on this map. We didn't get into all the detail. We wanted to call it real quick. There are XP rules. Splitting works the same as in Smite 1, and there is a lowest level XP split. So you have to split with a teammate, but if you're the lowest level, you'll get 45% bonus. Just want to shout out to the environment art and the level design team. There's a lot going on, behind the
Super
scenes here to
shout outs.
just
Yeah.
Yep.
make everything look amazing, make things look performant, completely new lighting systems, completely new texture systems in Unreal. We're talking a lot about gameplay today. today. But there's deep dives to talk about a lot
Yep.
more of this other stuff.
We had one with Christian last week that came out.
Oh hell yeah!
Lighting, yeah.
Dude, I love the way the water goes like down from the top and then enters into those like designated spots there, and there's a little bit of spill out. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
there's
Ooh, the crab. That's where you went this time.
Where
Wait,
is he?
what?
Oh, there he is.
No way.
He's hiding on top of the.
I actually had no idea.
That's where I'd be if I were him.
He's bounced around a little bit.
That's-
There's
That's
a lot of
where he is
some
today.
Easter eggs. Allied and Finch are also on this map.
course.
People, this is the #1 question I probably get when talking about Conquest. Infamy system, jungle mechanics, all this stuff. No, they want to know, and they are there. Of course, it was
Yes.
very important to
Always.
us as a
Yep.
team
Yep.
to make sure
There's
that's there
Allied.
too.
Yep.
Any final shout outs to the map? There's some new visual effects to highlight backdoor protections or immunity of structures or
Yep.
Titan.
The shield.
There's,
Pon, can you just speed and show off chaos a little bit?
Oh yeah.
they go into the danger zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to the danger zone. So here's what the Chaos team will see.
Oh,
You got a fiery portal in the background over there.
Nice.
With some really cool shadowing. You got the just like completely different base aesthetic. It's open on the top. You got the Titan back there.
Those huge axes.
Yeah, I like those like bone tusks and stuff in the back.
Yeah.
Those are-
There's just so much cool art on the map. I guarantee you there's going to be some people who hop into a match and the first thing they're going to do is miss a wave because they're looking all
Oh yeah, this is so good. Well, yeah, that's Conquest, everyone. Super excited for everyone to hop in, but let's talk
This is
about
the only game mode in Smite at the time.
Yes, the
Besides
only
our
game mode
practice map
in our
which you
alpha
can
weekend.
enter.
Yes.
And there will just be the one normal Conquest queue, and there will be customs
Customs
available.
as well. Yep.
Customs and normal Conquest queue. Ranked is planned for later, probably around the beginning of beta.
Ooh, okay. We slam those queues?
Oh yeah, we're
But
slamming them,
MMR
all right?
will be in effect, so you win your matches, you'll start playing against other people who win their matches. If you're
Right.
5-person pub stomping, it won't be long before you're running into the other team that's 5-person pub stomping, and you're gonna see how competitive this game gets real quick.
There we go.
Yep.
Can't wait.
Excited. Well, let's start talking about gods here. We can stay in game as Pon gets get ready. Gets ready. But
Yeah.
AJ, I'll pass to you. Talk to me about gods in Smite 2 because there are a lot of differences.
Yes, so the high level goals in